Hey, I'm Nina Contento, and I'm here with music superstar Uncle Kracker. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Rowan.
Thank you.
Well, I grew up listening to Follow Me and Drift Away, especially on the way to the beach. It would always be on the radio. And then I got a little bit older and changed to a more country feel. And then your hit Smile came around. So what's it like going from topping the top pop charts to country charts?
I don't know. It doesn't feel much different. I mean, obviously, the genre is a little different. Music feels a little different,
Right.
but it was a comfortable transition for me.
Okay.
I've been getting older. You've done a fine job of making me feel old.
Oh no.
But
definitely
no, I've
not.
been getting older, and things just been a natural progression into something different.
That's
just
really
something a
good.
little more, something a little more interesting for me, I guess.
Okay. So Kid Rock was a big influence in your life. He was one of your best friends, right?
Yeah, he's my best friend.
So you guys both changed to a more country feel. Was that planned?
Nah, I mean, even looking back to like my older rap records, we were still using like pedal steel and just a lot of like banjos,
Right,
stuff like
right.
that. And I mean, I remember turning in songs like "Follow Me," and people were telling me. I remember the record label asking me what they were gonna do with that country song.
Okay.
And I remember when Kid Rock and I wrote "Only God Knows Why." I remember the record label doing the same thing. Like, what are we gonna do with that country song? So I don't know. I just like I was talking about natural progression. It was nothing calculated. It was just you get in the studio and you just start making what feels right, at the time. So it wasn't like there was no calculated move, no anything like that. It was just over the years I don't know, you just do something different.
Well, like you said, you worked with Kid Rock early on. You started out DJing for his original band.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
do you get to mess with the turntables at all anymore, even just for fun?
I haven't messed with turntables. Well, I take that back. I was just on tour with Kid Rock and ZZ Top this last summer, and he'd have some after show parties and he'd have turntables set up. So every now and then, just mess them. When I started putting out my solo records, I really didn't touch them.
Okay.
Didn't really have It was at a time when everybody was trying to be a DJ, and a lot of companies were putting out mixers that were. There used to be more skill involved, and now everything's pretty easy for people.
Right.
So I just didn't. After years, I haven't touched it in a long time. I don't miss it.
Did you have a cool DJ name before you were Uncle Kracker?
No, in fact, that's how I ended up being Cracker. Just growing up in Detroit, Nick Cracker was always a nickname of mine. So when
Okay.
I got a solo record deal, there was already a band called Cracker. So I couldn't just be Cracker, so I had to put something before it or after it, and because there was a rock band called Cracker.
Okay.
So we ended up with Uncle Kracker. I ended up with Uncle Kracker, and I was young. It felt right for the time. We were doing a lot of Kid Rock stuff back then, and we definitely spawned my solo records off of the Kid Rock records, and it was just fun.
Well, did you have any other big influences in your music career?
I grew up listening to just about everything. I listened to, growing up in Detroit, everything Motown is very unavoidable. So my dad listened to all Motown. My mom listened to a lot of like early AM 70s stuff, like B.J. Thomas, James Taylor, stuff like that. And so everything growing up listening to stuff was just all across the board. And I started getting into a lot of rap early on. Probably when I was about 9 or 10, I remember watching stuff like on the public access channel. They would have like these. I remember Fat Boys were like one of the first videos I'd ever seen on there, and it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. But so I immediately wanted to be a rapper at that point. But I got my first record deal when I was like 15, long time ago. But I grew up listening to just about everything.
Yeah, that's how I grew up as well. Like my family's always been like really big into the diverse music.
Just everything in general.
Yeah.
Well, then I started DJing not long after that. And, when you start DJing, just parties and basement parties and stuff like that, you figure out really quick as a DJ that you're not really spinning stuff for yourself. So you're playing you're playing to other people. So, even then you just start kind of digging what stuff that you wouldn't have normally played.
Right.
So just it's all over the map. My iPod's a mess, just like everybody else's. It's
Yeah,
easy to do.
definitely. So you had these crowds that you used to DJ for. What's it like going from playing at a college venue, like a smaller venue, or something bigger, like a stadium filled with thousands of people?
Not much different. The shows are different. The energy is different, depending on the size of crowds. And even, I guess, I guess who you're playing with and who you're playing to. You know, sometimes you'll play stuff like this, and it's not necessarily like a big Uncle Kracker show. It's just a show, like a fun day and a fun evening.
Right.
And they're fun for us to do. You know what I mean? The band or the band and I, but they're fun for us. But it's not much different. I mean, we still give the show's the same. It's very similar. We'll tweak a few things just so people don't get too bored. You know, I'll throw in a few more covers for something like this. Something just something fun for people.
Right. So, like I said, I grew up listening to music, and I'm sure a lot of other Rowan students have. How does it make you feel to be able to reach out to such a diverse audience, from teenagers to college students to their parents?
It's cool. It's definitely a good. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you didn't really choke too bad a long time ago. I mean, just starting out in this business. I mean, I remember Kid Rock and I. Well, like I said, my first record deal was 15, and it just kind of progressed from there. And then I got another deal, and then another deal, and it was a lot of wanting to quit. So just to be still sticking around and doing something after, you know, a lot of years,
right. Well,
feels good. It feels like you didn't just put in your 5 and then left.
Yeah.
It's all right. I don't know what else I'd be doing other than this, but it feels great to be able to touch out and see. I don't know, people that were listening to your music 14 years ago when your first record came out, and versus now, you know, just it's fun.
So you had the opportunity to work with some of the biggest artists, some of the biggest names in the music industry. Do you have any advice that you can give to any music artists just starting out?
You know what? That's a tough one. I would just say to anybody starting out, I would just say just make sure you love what you do, and because at the end of the day, a lot of bands, most days, that's about all you got when it's said and done. Just love what you do, and you just. It's not very great advice, but
It's, you know, sometimes like even the littlest advice is what matters.
you probably figured out I'm a big talker over here.
It's okay.
I don't have a lot of advice.
I can make up for it.
Thank you. I would just say love what you do. I put in a lot of time over the years, and we've played a lot of clubs and a lot of just trying to get from city to city. It's almost impossible. Well, it's impossible to get from city to city for free. So, you know, at the end of the night, when bar owners are skating out and not paying you and things like that, as long as you love what you're doing, it's going to help you from not getting too mad. It's going to help you figure out ways to get to and from. Just love what you do, just like everything else.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything in store for your music in the future?
No. I'm not a big planner.
No.
I've never been. No, I'm not a big planner. I've never been smart enough to capitalize off anything. Just pre-planning's never been my thing either.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta live life day by day. It's just.
I get it. I mean, I'm not that flighty, but I don't really I don't. A lot of people will write, you know, every day, every other day, things like that. And I don't write until I get to the studio, which is not every day. I don't really have any plans.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to your show coming up. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.